listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Oh, Mac Daddy Del Norte. It's another day. It's another day. We continue on our educational journey.
Yes.
We're learning to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm a little bit concerned, Mac Daddy Del Norte.
Oh, why is that?
Well, you know, our listeners, they're getting so educated. You know what Scripture says?
What does it say?
Knowledge puffs up, but love builds up.
Oh.
And probably they're getting so smart by listening to 915 Talk that they're getting, like, they're falling into a pitfall of pride.
Oh, okay. You think so?
Well, the reason I bring that up is because, you know, we can talk about knowledge. We can talk about all this information. We live in the information age. We can pick up our phone and have access to almost any kind of information in the world.
Yeah, that is very true.
It's kind of crazy. You can open up a street camera in the Philippines and see cars driving around. You can find out what the weather report is in Nepal.
Yes.
You can, I don't know, just almost, I mean, all the information is out there.
Yep.
But you know what? With all that information, you know what's going on?
I'm going to guess. Maybe people are getting less smarter. Because they have to search up everything.
That is true. I had to have a talk with my kids about, I want you to drive somewhere without using the GPS.
Oh, that's
right?
hard.
Yeah, like I want you to exercise your brain a little bit.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going because the greatest part about our pre-915 Talk banter is we do not plan for it in advance at all.
True.
Is with all this information. You ready for this, Mac Daddy Del Norte?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're not getting any wiser.
Exactly. There we go.
Yeah, see, that's where I was going with
There
that.
we go.
So today we have a very special guest.
Oh, okay. How so?
Do you know why he's special?
Yes, I believe I do.
Oh, what is happening?
We're getting breaking news, Andy.
Breaking news?
I don't know why we keep on getting interrupted.
Important announcement. You can now feed your mind, feed your soul with the KELP radio app. Listen to your favorite Christian teaching and talk programs on your smartphone from anywhere in the world with the KELP radio app. You can download the app on your app store now.
Oh.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, when they think of wisdom, they know the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But then they don't do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
And they know they're supposed to download the KELP radio app.
Yes, because that's how they're going to educate their brain.
Right?
Yeah.
But then they don't, because you can feed your mind and feed your soul.
Yes.
Really, like, a lot of people ask, like, I want to feed my mind and feed my soul, but is there like a geographical limit to where I can feed my mind and feed my soul?
No, there isn't actually.
Oh, with the KELP radio app. All you need is your phone.
Yes.
And an internet connection.
That's all.
And what's great about it is more and more folks are using the app.
Yes.
They're listening to great Christian teaching and talk.
Yes.
Which we love to see. But then you can message the studio with the KELP radio app.
Right.
Do you know how you can message the studio with the KELP radio app?
Yes, there's a red button that says message the studio.
Oh, that's right. And so you click on that red button, and even while we're on air, I can see the messages. It's so much fun.
It is.
Oh, but we were saying we have a special guest.
Oh, right. Yes. He's special because he is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
Oh, he is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
Yeah.
That is what makes him special. Also, he used to be a missionary to Hindustan.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of Hindustan?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of India?
I have, yes.
Oh yeah, he was a missionary over there,
Okay.
and now he is a pastor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that that's like a promotion? Like first you're a missionary and then you become a pastor, like India and then El Paso. Like which one do you think is more important to God?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think it's just important to spread the gospel no matter what you are. You don't have to be a pastor to do that.
You know what, Mac Daddy Del Norte, you are a true son of the borderland, a man in whom there is no guile. This is true. God's economy is different than ours. He's the pastor at Jesus Chapel here in El Paso.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over on the west side. Where the fancy people live.
Right.
I live central. We have police helicopters, kind of over our neighborhood a lot. We like it. Our life is more interesting. But he's the pastor over at Jesus Chapel. We have a lot to talk about in the next hour. We're going to be talking wisdom, missions, all kinds of things. So without further ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to the one, the only, Pastor Austin Triplett. Austin, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be here. Andy, I kind of feel like you should get a new title on your desk, like King of Segways or something like that. Because I just feel like you got a gift, man, a spiritual gift for this.
The spiritual gift of segues.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I really like it. So, yeah.
Oh, we do have fun, Austin, and we continue on this journey. So much enjoyed our conversation last time when you came in.
Yeah,
we were
too.
talking about a biblical view of masculinity, which is super interesting subject. We're going to be talking a little bit about wisdom today, and I know that's something you've been studying a lot recently. Before we get into that, I want to talk about this dynamic of the local church and missionaries.
All right.
Because you were a missionary,
Yeah.
and now you're a local church pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a missionary for many years.
Yeah.
I raised a lot of financial support during that time, and what I learned is it's really awkward.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting is I think this could be awkward for a variety of reasons. One of them is because a lot of people know that missionaries exist, but what a missionary's job is so different depending upon the culture they're in.
Okay.
So for instance, what that looks like in India is going to look very different from Russia.
Sure.
Both of those countries are not necessarily the friendliest to the gospel and the friendliest to Christianity in and of itself, for very different reasons. And so you look at both of those nations and you think about what does it look like to do mission there? And that's just going to look radically different depending on your locality, depending upon your connections. And so it can be tough when you go to a local church and you're like, hey, we're here, we need money. And people are like, well, but what are you really doing for the ministry? You're like, well, it's kind of hard to explain what I'm doing for the ministry because it doesn't actually make sense compared to maybe what you've heard from somebody in Russia or even what you're thinking about in your local context, right? The way we think about church in the West in particular is very different from the way you have to think about it in places like India where I was. And so I think the awkwardness can often come from just misunderstanding one another. And then I think it can also come from, and this was partially my experience, you get removed from the American church context a little bit, and then you get put back into the American church context and you're like, this is different than I remember it being. And it's because
So you're saying after you've been gone and you came back.
Yeah, after you've been gone for a bit, you come back and you're maybe your eyes are open to some things that were normal before and now aren't normal, like arguments about carpets and air conditioning, and then that's not in your world when you're in a church building that only fits 20, but there's 40 of you in there, and there's no air conditioning and the fans aren't working. That's a very different church context,
right?
And everybody's not complaining about that. They're just there to hear the word. So it's just you come back, and I think you can come back with unique perspectives. And I'll say this from a missionary perspective. My wife and I very early on decided we were not going to play the game. And what I mean by that, we were not going to play the game. And what I mean by that is we were not going to come home and tell stories where we were fudging the truth a little bit to try to make sure that there was more support raised. Or let me give it more charitable. Not fudging the truth, but maybe we weren't
sensationalizing.
That's a great way to describe it, you know. And so we wanted to just be really raw and honest about where we were at. I'm sure you know, as somebody who was in missions for a lot longer than I was, there are just days where you're like, what are we doing over here? Yeah. What are we doing?
That never happened to me.
Well, you might want to coach the next generation of missionaries then. Cause,
I'm joking.
But I feel like there were just so many days where we came home and I was just like, I don't even know why we're here. Like nothing's working.
Yeah.
I remember one day my wife and I we had worked with a team of 20 national Indians, and we loved this team, such great people, but it was so difficult to connect for us. And I remember one day we're walking to the office because we were in that early stage of missionary where we were like, we're going to walk everywhere. Before it was, you know, it's like, we don't need to walk. It's 120 degrees outside with the humidity. We can take the auto rickshaw with 6 other people, you know. But we were walking to the office one day, and as we're walking to the office, I remember just feeling so frustrated that I'm just like verbally processing to my wife. I'm like, after this, we had committed to 2 years. I was like, after this, we're done. I'm going to go home. You know, maybe I'm not even sure I'm going to serve in a local church anymore. I'm just kind of done with ministry. And she just was gracious and listened to me and didn't, you know, she knew that I was just speaking out of my frustration. But you can feel that way. And then you can go home and feel like, I can't tell these people about how I'm really doing. Because if I tell them how I'm really doing, it's going to jeopardize the financial support that I'm raising. And so I think that it can often feel like I can't be myself with my church. Yeah. And that can be a struggle. I don't know if that's what you're asking about.
Yeah,
being awkward,
no, that's great.
But,
that's great. Okay, so what you're saying is the church here in the United States, what I'm hearing you say, the church here in the States might have expectations put on you as a missionary that don't fit the reality of your situation.
For sure. Yeah.
It could have to do with style of ministry.
Yeah.
It could have to do with just they expect victory after victory.
Absolutely.
And you're still figuring things out.
Yeah.
I find this to be interesting. Now, as a pastor, I assume you have plenty of missionaries coming and appealing somehow.
Yeah.
So how does your experience influence how you interact in those situations?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question.
Of course it is. It's my job to ask great questions.
I'm just I'm here to compliment you. That's what I'm here for. Just to hype you up, make you feel like you can do this for another day.
I need that some days, Austin.
That's good. We all do. We all need somebody in our corner. I used this word in my sermon yesterday. It's the first time I've ever used this word. I think I used it right, but I'm just here to glaze you. That's all. That's what the kids are saying, I think. And so I think I'm using it correctly, trying to get in with the times. So I would say that it's challenging in new ways being a pastor and kind of navigating those conversations. And it's also healthier. I feel like I can understand where the missionary's coming from. Yeah. I can understand where they're at, asking for support. What's tough is I think that we're constantly navigating our own budget at the church.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know if there's any studies done on this, but from most of the pastors that I've talked to from 2020 on, it's just been really hit or miss, whether their budget's decent or poor. And so I think churches are trying to really scramble to navigate, like, what do we do now? The economy has skyrocketed, not skyrocketed, that's a bad way to put it. Things are just more expensive. Yeah. And businesses are starting to catch up to how expensive things are. And so now people's jobs are they're starting to get cost of living adjustments that are starting to catch up. The churches are the last places to feel that. We feel all the expense raising, but we don't necessarily see it in our tithes and offerings. And so
what a great explanation. I'm glad the radio station doesn't feel that at all.
I'm sure you do feel that way. Churches and then their subsidies, like those who are coming to churches for support, feel that way. Yeah. I don't know that I have the exact statistic on it. About 10 years ago, when my wife and I were raising support, we had gone through like a ministry partnership development coaching thing. They were just kind of teaching us what to expect, how to raise support, people that will walk along with us through that journey, which was really helpful for us. But one of the things they told us was that like in the early 2000s, it was about 60 to 70% of missionaries' support was coming from local churches, and 30 to 40% was coming from individual families.
Yeah.
And that's flipped now. So now it's 30 to 40% is coming from local churches, and 60 to 70% is coming from individual families.
So that situation could be like, as an opinion, like the way a local church views that could be stylistic.
Yeah.
Some local churches might just prefer for individuals to give outside of their tithes and offering, whatever the case may be. Do you have an opinion on that? Like, what would your preference be?
Yeah. So I think if I had to say, like, this is my preference, how do I say this? I want to be real charitable here. And at the same time, I want to say, I think there's a lot of ministries that probably shouldn't be happening. A lot of ministries without accountability.
Yeah.
A lot of people in missions without accountability and without structure.
Right.
And I think that I do in some ways wish that there was better accountability in the local church. And I think we're seeing that right now across the board.
So you're saying...
I'll
okay,
say that
yeah.
to say... I think it could be beneficial if we saw something similar to the New Testament model of you bring your money to the elders of the local church and the elders discern where that money goes.
Okay.
At the same time, I think then there needs to be elders of the local church accountability. And so I think eventually do you end up getting to the point where you're like, well, this is why we should never have broken from the Catholic Church. And I'm not trying to say that. It's one of those, this is where we're at. And so I think it could be really beneficial at a local church to say, hey, let's entrust the leaders of this local church to determine where our mission spending goes.
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think that there's wisdom in individuals saying, hey, I give to my local church and I support missions.
Yeah.
I think it can be really fruitful for the individual family. And so I would say my preference, if I had to say this is my preference, it would be...
Yeah, because we're not saying this is a principle. It's just that preference is the right word for it.
I would say that my preference would be that individual families would partner with missions in concert with their local church leadership. So the local church leadership maybe helps vet and determine these are the people we think could be really beneficial to partner with. And then the local church just goes all in on supporting those people, whatever that might look like. So,
I agree that there are a lot of people in ministry, not just as missionaries, but around the world, including in the United States. And kind of the joke I've had is they're so faithful that even if Jesus came back, they'd continue. And maybe the ministry isn't producing any fruit. Questions do need to be asked about that. I was speaking at a missions conference once, and I put up Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Nice.
The beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And when it says, well, I'm not quite dead yet. It's humor. It's British humor. Yeah. And he says, well, you'll be dead by Thursday. and I played that. And then I said, many of you are leading ministries that are dead.
Yeah.
And if they're not dead yet, they will be dead by Thursday. And so we need to be really honest about that.
Yeah.
And trust that God will lead us into something new.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I've seen that where, because there's such a distance between the local church and the missionary on the other side of the earth, if you were to show up, you might be shocked that the missionary is working 6 hours a week, 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
And why is he receiving full-time salary?
Yeah.
And so it is a difficult question.
Yeah.
At that conference, we had a great time of prayer, and new ministries were born, and some we sent them on their way into the great beyond.
Yeah.
And it was a positive thing. But it is a difficult conversation. What are some of the questions you would ask as a pastor or as an elder board to kind of, like you say, vet a missionary?
Yeah. I love that question, because I think that I would say the number one question that I would ask somebody as a missionary is, what local church are you a part of? And would they allow you to be on staff or in a leadership position in that local church?
Wow.
Because if they wouldn't allow you to be on staff or in a leadership position at that local church, not that they can hire you, but would they if they could?
Do they trust you that
Do they
much?
trust you that much? If you can't, if that's not where you stand in your local church, then that's a real yellow flag for me.
Yeah.
Your local church could have some issues.
Sure.
Or it could be a massive church that's not thinking about that.
Yeah.
But I would say that
But if the answer is no, I have some follow-up
yeah,
questions.
yeah. If the answer is no, I have some follow-up. My second question would be, hey, are you making disciples where you live right now? Because if you're not making disciples where you live right now,
Yes.
I don't know that you're going to do it
Yeah.
in another context. And so those would be two questions on kind of the more like, is this person doing the work of the ministry type of thing? Are they already doing this? Are they already the type of person of character? Are they already the type of person of competency and calling here where they are?
Yeah.
And if they're not the person of character, competency, and calling here where they are, I'm not saying that they're not called to missions. I'm just saying the Lord might want to do some work in them a little more right now.
Right. Yeah.
And so that would be some big questions I'd ask. I'd want to have some conversations with their local church leaders, if they'd allow that or if they have that. If they're not connected to a local church, I'd want to know why they're not connected to a local church.
Yeah.
None of these are like, oh, well, if you say no to that, then like there's my answer. It
It's
would
not
just
one
be
strike and you're out.
Yeah, it would just be follow-up questions that would
Yeah.
lead to more conversations. Another thing I'd want to ask is, what's your legitimate plan for exiting ministry someday? Because what has happened, I think, and I want to be so careful with this. I want to just be so charitable and wise and understanding that like certain...
But yet I want you to communicate in a way that your thought is understood.
All right, let me communicate in a way that my thoughts understood. All right. Some missionaries have said yes to going and have only thought about what's next and not thought about what's coming.
Okay.
And so what's next is what I'm going to do next. And, it's, just think about today. The Lord will worry about tomorrow for me. And that's true. There's a level of trust that's required and necessary. At the same time, one day you will not be able to do this work anymore.
Yeah.
And what's your plan? What's your plan to make sure that you aren't still requiring full-time support from the local church?
Okay, so I'm going to be less charitable than you.
All right, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people on the mission field simply because they don't have a way out of it financially.
Yep.
And it is important for the church here to understand that and maybe even, it's a difficult conversation because you picture someone who's given, let's say, 40 years of their life to ministry. They don't see a way out.
Yeah.
And that would be a great ministry for a local church to help them off ramp and get into a situation where they can have a sustainable income lifestyle and be a part of a local church and serve with all that experience they have without them just hanging on for dear life when maybe they're unable to be effective in ministry any longer. And again, that's a difficult conversation, but I think some missionaries would be so relieved to have a church come alongside them and start to help them figure out a way forward, a way out.
Yeah. So with this, I don't know where we're at on timeline, if we need to take a break or anything, but I think this conversation can be had of local church pastors and local churches as well.
Two, I didn't say that. That was Austin Triplett of Jesus Chapel.
Well, I'll say more about that in just a second. Two, I think this is why it's really vital for local churches to have relationship with the missionaries that they partner with. And so that's something really important for us is we want to have relationship. We want to know how you're doing and where you're at, and we want to commit to long-term partnerships. We're not trying to say like, we'll support you this year, maybe we won't next year. We would really like to say, hey, if we're partnering with you, we're all in. Yeah. And we want to help you however we can help you. Yeah. And so that means like I'm texting people that we're supporting in our church and asking them how they're doing. I'm trying to get a hold of them to know how I can pray for them. I'm not trying to add more work to their life, but just how can I pastorally care for you as you're on the field? And so that's something that really matters to us. And we don't want fake newsletters So we want to know where you're really at.
Yeah.
Not so we can drop support, but so that we can know how to continue supporting you.
I love
ways.
that.
So,
And again, I think what you're saying is a fake newsletter doesn't mean you're lying. It
No.
means you're just maybe only telling the good parts
Yeah.
and you're struggling with something.
Yeah.
And I do love what you said about pastors.
yeah.
And it would be great just for pastors who are up there in years to see an off ramp. In the Old Testament, there was an age limit to being an active Levite,
Yep.
but there was a role for them after that,
Yep.
and there is no disrespect there at all.
No.
But what a great thing! I want to tell you another funny story.
All right. I
from
want to
when I
hear
was
it.
a missionary.
Yeah.
So there was a church that was supporting me as a missionary, and the mission board I think it was about $180 a month. Praise the
Yeah.
Lord. Great. So they sent us an email and they said, we've been praying for you and we feel like we need to reduce the support to $120 a month. And we wrote back, okay, well, thank you for continuing to support us. Then they wrote us again the next year, we've been praying for you and we feel like we need to reduce the support to $80 a month. And I wrote them back and I said, would you please stop praying for us? Because every time you do, the amount goes down.
I love that you did that.
Yeah.
If I were a pastor and I received that email from you, that would have made me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that didn't.
Yeah.
You were not that pastor.
Yeah,
And,
well, that's good.
Yeah. And they just stopped supporting us.
Okay.
But the other thing that was funny, and this is from like the missionary
Yeah.
side, like I never heard from them throughout the year, but then they would send an application every year that was so long and so
yeah.
thick. And everything about our lives, and we have no relationship with these people outside
Yeah.
of this application. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Yeah. Yeah. It's such a tough balance because you're like, I'm kind of thankful you're doing this, right? You're vetting people.
Yeah.
At the same time this is a lot for a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds terrible to say that.
Yeah.
It really does sound terrible.
Actually, at
to say
the
that,
end,
but
they said, if the church you've planted will be named after us, we will continue to support you.
did they really?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So this might be one of those. I need to probably not say much responding to that.
Oh, come on.
I'm just gonna hold my tongue.
This is why
there a
we
little
do
bit.
this live.
You know what we should talk
Pastor
about
Austin
is
Triplett of
we
Jeff.
should talk about. So here's a real life scenario right now. We've got, I don't know, have you met Brant Small, who's planting, I believe it's Sun City Church on the east side?
I have not had the
Okay.
pleasure.
Amazing guy, man. If you want to get a good church planter in here, solid church planter who moved to El Paso to plant a church.
Yeah.
Not from El Paso,
Okay.
but moved here because
What's
he
the
saw
name
the
again?
need. I believe it's Sun City Church.
Okay.
Brant Small, and I can make sure to get contact there. But he's planting a church on the east side, and they're growing,
Mm-hmm.
and they've just outgrown spaces. Like they need a space. And you know what would be really beneficial for them? A church building.
Yeah.
And if there were a church, and there are many in this city, who has a building but doesn't have the congregation to sustain it, probably has a pastor that's aging out and is trying to figure out what to do, that would steward the building into their hands. It could be such a gift to that.
This has been a recurring theme on this program.
Okay, yeah.
So it has come up multiple times that the local church does not last forever.
Yeah.
Only the church with a big C.
Yeah.
Throughout all ages.
Yeah.
There is not a single local church that was around 2,000 years ago that's around today. Churches have a life cycle.
Yeah.
And just this idea that if your church is reaching the end of its life cycle, one of the best things you can do is give that building to an up-and-coming church. This has come up, I don't know how many times recently. So we're on the radio. What's the name of the church again?
Sun City Church.
Okay.
Brant Small is the pastor.
Okay.
I believe it's Sun City Church. So Sun City something. And so I know that. But man.
Yeah, it's Sun City Church,
Yeah.
Brant Small, Sun City EP.
And
.com.
brother is a faithful pastor who desires to see more churches that are healthy in El Paso. And so, man, if you're listening to this program and you're in a church that is nearing the end of its life cycle, I just can't recommend enough to get in contact to Brant Small and just see how can we help steward our building for the glory of God.
I love it. I love it. And there have been several huge success stories along those lines here in El Paso. It's so cool to see where I'll call it the aging church that's kind of dwindling has given it away just so generously. And what a legacy for those folks. What a great thing. So shout out to Brant Small, suncityep.com. We are today with Pastor Austin Triplett. He's at Jesus Chapel on the west side of El Paso. And we're talking about the relationship between the local church and missionaries. Austin and his wife were missionaries in India for a number of years, so it is fun and interesting to talk about that dynamic between churches who want to support missionaries and the missionaries that are on the field. We do have Charlie One on the phone right now. Charlie One, what are you seeing out on the roads this afternoon?
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, PD are busy with what's going on here. Crashes going on. I'm going to start, first of all, on the east side with a crash at a very busy intersection, Montana and Saul Kleinfield have a crash there. PD just arriving there. East side, Alameda and Midway, we have a crash. That one just happened, and PD will be addressing that one. Then far east side, Joe Battle and Edgemer, always any traffic on Joe Battle is very busy intersection. Joe Battle and Edgemer with a crash there, and PD at the scene. So that's going to congest things. On the west side, North Desert and Thorn, you're bumper to bumper there because there's a lot of construction going on there at I-10 West, Mesa, Gateway West, Mesa. There's just a lot of barrels up there, lane closures. So what they do is they direct traffic onto North Desert. When they do that, North Desert and Thorn, you are bumper to bumper for about a mile there. Very slow-moving traffic that goes on there. See some busy traffic also, I-10 West Viscount and Gateway West Viscount to Hawkins, your shopping area right there. Andy, back to you.
Charlie One, this afternoon we have Pastor Austin Triplett with us. He's with Jesus Chapel over on El Paso's west side. Great church, great group of people over there. So if someone's looking for maybe a church home on El Paso's west side, they could check out Jesus Chapel. But what if someone's on the east side of El Paso and they're looking for a bowl of homemade menudo? Where would you recommend that they look?
Well, not only if they live on the west side, but maybe not only if they live on the east side, but if they live on the west side and go to church there, well, what they can do is a lot of people go shopping, especially Valentine's Day coming up. A lot of people go shopping at Cielo Vista Mall areas there. So what they can do is not far from that mall area, you've got Eastside Choice Meats, Lomaland and Treewood. Pick up that menudo to go. It's cold there. It's homemade, but it's just ready to go right there, and you can just put it in your refrigerator and save it for the weekend, for the big game, or anything like that, any occasion that you want. But in the morning, delicious menudo. Pick it up there at Eastside Choice Meats, Lomaland and Treewood. Andy.
Thank you, Charlie One. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
And we're back with Pastor Austin Triplett of Jesus Chapel. We've been talking about missions. We had a message come in through the KELP radio message to studio app. David Jeremiah said his church gives 20%, I assume, to missions. And since they have, God has abundantly blessed them. I love hearing about churches who are just looking to give more and more. At the same time, I love what you're saying about really getting into these missionaries' lives and kind of just doing life with them, hearing about both the victories and the struggles.
Yeah. And man, I love the idea of a church giving 20% to missions if they can. That's awesome. I think if a church can do that, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were talking about missions, but at the beginning of the program, we said we're going to talk about wisdom today.
All right. Yeah.
So what have you been learning about wisdom, Pastor Austin?
Yeah. So every year I spend some time just kind of praying, like, Lord, what do you want us to do in the next year? How do you want us to spend our time? I mean, we get 52 Sundays a year.
Sure.
I want every single one of those Sundays to count.
Right.
And so I try to just really intentionally plan out that year to the best of my abilities, and I just kept feeling like the Lord was pushing me to wisdom and to preaching through wisdom literature. So we're going to be preaching through Job and Ecclesiastes. We'll hit on Proverbs probably near the end of the year. My hot take is that if you don't know wisdom literature, you can't read Revelation well, and so we're going to be preaching Revelation in the middle of that as well. Mm-hmm. So with that, we've been just recognizing I don't think there's a prayer I pray more than, Lord, would you give me wisdom? Yeah. Would you give me wisdom? I mean, I think the last couple of weeks alone has been a real significant time of people in the church desperately needing wisdom to know how to respond, what to say, when to say it. I've been just feeling like I'm out of my depth in this cultural moment. And so in some ways, I feel like this sermon series may be a little bit self-seeking and a little bit selfish, but I also think it's just something we need as a church. And so I've been really actively trying to think through what is wisdom and how do we come by it. So a couple things that I think are really important for us to recognize is that a lot of people will say, well, if you just read God's word and obey the words, you'll be fine, which is so great. Read God's word and walk in obedience to it. Submit yourself to God's word. Excellent. Here's a command in God's word. Love your neighbor as yourself. Great. What does that look like practically?
Yeah.
Sometimes love looks like welcoming and accepting. Sometimes love looks like setting boundaries. Sometimes love looks like keeping your mouth shut and not saying anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes love looks like correcting and correcting false thinking. Sometimes love looks like I'm going to go out of my way to sacrifice for you. And other times it looks like not enabling that person. And so how do you know when's the right time to apply what it looks like to love? Like, how do you know how to apply love to this circumstance?
Yeah,
That's where wisdom
what
comes
I'm
in.
hearing you
Yeah.
say is making the right decision cannot be reduced to a formula as we go
Yeah.
through life, and wisdom gives us the tailor-made solution that God gives us for that moment.
Yeah. Tim Keller talks about it this way. It's been really helpful for me. Wisdom is when the moral answer isn't clear, that's when you need wisdom. So there are times where it's like, hey, don't murder this guy. Yeah, we can totally do that. But be a life-giving presence to this person.
Right.
That's when you need wisdom. I don't know how to do this. Like, I think right now there's a lot in the world that the moral answer is not clear.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Christians are trying to make the world black and white, and they're getting frustrated by it. And it's because they just tell me what to do and I'll do it. It's like, actually, I think you need a little more dependence upon the Holy Spirit. And so Jamin Roller, he's a pastor in Dallas, Texas. When he was talking about wisdom, he uses 3 categories for how we should think through wisdom. So wisdom has a posture and it's low. So there's this recognition of humility that is required, teachability that's required. Wisdom has a pace, it's slow. Very rarely is wisdom happening when people are reactionary, when people are moving too quickly. And then the third thing is wisdom has a person. It's Jesus. So kind of my short definition for what I think wisdom is faithful attentiveness to God's truth in real life. So if Jesus is the Word of God made flesh who came to dwell among us, and he is always responding in the world in the right way.
Yeah.
The Bible calls him the wisdom of God. Like he
Right.
is the wisdom of God. And so if we want to know wisdom, we actually need to reorder our lives according to Jesus and his priorities, which is going to require us to be in regular communication with Christ. And so,
I love that so much. As I read through the Gospels, one of the things I see about Christ is he doesn't do the same thing the same way every time he meets with someone. You know, like one time the leper comes up and says, heal me. And he says, you're healed. Go show yourself to the priest. Don't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
Then paralytic comes, same chapter, and his friends cut a hole through the roof and let him down through the hole. You know, and then a woman touches the corner of his garment. Then there's someone who's blind and he spits in the sand and makes mud and rubs it in their eyes. And then he doesn't come and he doesn't heal Lazarus. He waits. And I think, again, so often we want to reduce God to a formula.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is you need to stay totally focused on Christ so you can know what to do in that situation.
Yeah. And I think, man, let's use Solomon as just a case study in how wisdom can really benefit a person and how wisdom, a lack of continual dependence upon Christ, lack of continual dependence upon God can lead to a downfall. I mean, Solomon, when he first starts out as king of Israel, his desperate prayer is like, I just need wisdom. I don't know how to rule with justice, with equity. I don't know how to rule well. This is too much for me. And God says, because you're asking for this and not all these other things, I'm going to give you wisdom and I'll give you all these other things. And that like his kingdom becomes, I mean, the way that they talk about Solomon in the Old Testament is that there was no one as wise as him on the face of the earth.
Right.
And yet he makes a boneheaded decision later on in his life.
Yeah.
Why is that? Well, I think it's because eventually he started to think he was wise. And he stopped thinking that he needed wisdom.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have enough voices in our day and age speaking out and getting people saying yes, that they think they're walking in wisdom. And they're not. They're walking in, they're being brash. They're making quick decisions. They're just trying to react to things. And I would say that we need to really push against our culture of immediacy and move towards a culture of careful thought, a culture of response, not reaction, is what I'm pushing for.
Yeah.
There are just way too many foolish Christians in America in 2026. And
you heard it here first, folks. From Pastor Austin Triplett.
Hey, it was in my sermon yesterday. So it's, my lofty goal in life, and it's a goal that I just want to dedicate the rest of my life to, is no more foolish Christians. Like let's really push for that. And I think that wisdom literature is a really undervalued biblical text and portion of Scripture in the life of the local church.
And I like what you're saying is a lot of wisdom is not rushing into a decision.
Yeah.
It's taking the time to figure out what does Jesus want to do here. I personally have often thought of it this way. So often in life we think that we're choosing between two things, and wisdom provides us with a third.
That's good.
And it's what comes directly from Jesus, something we couldn't have come up with on our own.
Yeah.
We're so closed-minded to think that it's either this or this, and there's a totally another thing, but we have to take a moment and wait on him and hear from him. So you've done Job?
We're just starting Job this Sunday.
Okay.
So we started kind of an introduction to wisdom. So Colossians 4:5 says, walk in wisdom towards outsiders, making the best use of the time. I was like, if this is what God expects of his people, to walk in wisdom towards the world, we got to know what wisdom is. And so this last week was just kind of intro to why we're doing this. And we'll start Job this Sunday. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So that's an interesting one, especially the dynamic of Satan and God discussing a righteous man.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to go to Jesus Chapel this Sunday to find out what that's all about. If you're just joining us with Pastor Austin Triplett, he's with Jesus Chapel here in El Paso's West Side. We were talking about the relationship between the local church and missionaries earlier on in the program. Now we're talking about wisdom. And we do need to take a break. Before we go into the break, this is the point in the program where KELP Radio would like to thank all of its impact partners. These are local businesses, churches, nonprofits, educational institutions that have joined us in our journey to serve our community through radio ministry. And the impact partner I want to point out today is Caring Companions. If you have an older relative, a loved one who needs some help but definitely wants to stay at home, Caring Companions can provide that home care senior service. And it's been so fun for me on this program to have guests. As I talk about Caring Companions, they say, yeah, we use them, they're great. And I know it's just a great company run by really great people. And so if you have an elderly loved one and maybe you just need to get out of the house for a few hours a week, you can contact them. It's caringcompanionsep.com. You'll describe the situation to them. They'll work out like what the solution could be and also a quote. And you can see if that's a good fit for you. But thank you to Caring Companions. And if you own or manage a business in El Paso and you're interested in becoming a KELP impact partner, you can reach out to us via the site, kelpradio.com. And we'll let you know how that works. And maybe we can work together to reach our city. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our borderland for Christ.
Have you ever wondered what it might be like to connect your Sunday faith with your Monday work? Hi, my name is Tiffany Etterling, and I'm the host of a brand new program right here on KELP called the 323 Podcast. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, do it as unto the Lord." Through stories and conversations with business leaders and difference makers, the 323 Podcast equips listeners to honor God in the way they lead, create, and serve. Because in everything we do, our work can reflect the one we serve. Join me each and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for the 323 Podcast, right here on KELP Radio.
915.
Testify.
So growing up, I actually grew up to be a Muslim, and it wasn't up until high school when I started going to church and I didn't know who Jesus Christ really was. It wasn't up until April of this past year in 2024 when I fully surrendered to Christ. I was an alcoholic. I was a man full of lust. I was just lost in the sinful nature of this world, and I didn't know how to comprehend certain things. I didn't know how to have a proper relationship. It was just tormenting me from the inside. But I'm here to tell you today that Jesus Christ changed my life for the better, serving at the capacity, knowing that I have a purpose and moving with that purpose because I know that the world is coming to an end soon. My name is Marvis Davis, and I'm here to tell you that if Jesus Christ did it for me, he could also do it for you too.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb
And by the word of their testimony.
Desertvoice.media.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you are listening. What's
We'll
going
be
on?
right
Hi,
back.
Daddy.
Don't touch
Hi,
that dial.
Daddy. Are we okay? Okay, I was really worried. We are back. You are listening to 915 Talk. I'm your host, Andy Frecka. Today we're with Pastor Austin Triplett. He's at Jesus Chapel over here on El Paso's west side. Elevator, not pitch, but description of Jesus Chapel.
Yeah, so together we enjoy God, become more like Jesus, and invite others to do the same because we know that the gospel changes everything. We're a church that really wants to see the good news of Jesus Christ and his kingdom change this city, and that happens when we together commit to worshiping the Lord, enjoying him, seeking to become more like the person of Jesus Christ, and recognizing that there's always more room at the table. There's always more room. So
super cool. So jesuschapelep.com. You get together at 10 a.m. on Sundays?
yeah, 10 a.m. on Sundays.
And you're there on kind of the corner of Sunset and Donovan?
Yeah, right across from the substation.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. So when we were talking about wisdom, you threw out a phrase.
Okay.
And the phrase was this, in this cultural moment.
Yeah.
What is this cultural moment? Define the moment we are in. Because you said it like we all knew what you were talking about.
In this cultural moment, I think I'm specifically referring to the West, but I don't think that this only applies to the West. And I think I'm even more specifically referring to, I would say, American Christianity. So let me start there as a kind of, and not just American Christianity, but just what does it mean to be in America right now? I think we had talked about on our last podcast that like you can kind of pretty much tell where somebody lands politically by some signs in their life. You know, if they're walking with a mask, or if they have an American flag on their T-shirt, you kind of know where they land. Like there's this day and age where things are so polarizing. And I would say that there's even a press for performative justice, right? Like you need to have an opinion on everything that's happened right as soon as it's happened. So there's this press for immediacy. There is, I think people are busier and more distracted than ever before. if you ever get a chance, if you're listening to this and you can read Peter Kreft's, I don't remember how to pronounce it exactly, Christianity for Modern Pagans. He is reflecting upon Blaise Pascal's Pensées, and he has this chapter on diversion. And it is, I think, one of the most excellent chapters to describe what's happening right now, that people with so many distractions are actually the least happy people. And so I think that's where we're at. We're just a culture that's
people with the most distractions are the least happy.
Yeah, we're just looking for happiness in something. And so we're trying to fill our schedule with things. So it's this idea that we are continuing to just seek meaning, hope, purpose in something. And right now, I think that a lot of people are on social media seeing cultural issues, justice issues, political issues, and they're saying, I'm going to give my all to this one particular issue. Or they're saying, and this is, I think, more prominent, I have to say something about this so that the world will think a certain way about me. I have to have an opinion about this. So sociologists have called it performative justice. You're not actually doing anything. You're just like, I side with this party or this person or this in solidarity with. So it didn't start there, but it was really prominent in the Black Lives Matter movement, where people were blacking out social media. And it was, what came of that? What did people actually do in action for that? We're not really sure in a lot of ways, but people definitely took a stand in a performative manner.
Right.
So I said something performatively. We are seeing that, I think, right now with what's going on in Minneapolis and what's going on with ICE. And there's a lot of people that are, and I'm not going to try to get anybody in trouble here. So there's a lot of people that are, I stand with immigrants. But if you ask them, what does that mean? What does that look like practically? They don't have an answer to that question.
Right.
Or if you ask people, I stand with ICE, you're like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like practically? They don't have an answer to that question.
Right.
And so there's a lot of performative siding with people without a lot of carefully thought through wise responses to cultural moments.
Right. So with that in mind, Pastor Austin, what is your view on Greenland?
What is my view on
I'm
Greenland?
joking.
No, well, that's okay. I honestly have not. I've not spent enough time thinking through it.
Yeah.
It just. I know this is going to sound terrible. It sounds like a joke to me sometimes. Like people are like, "It's about Greenland." I'm like, "What is going on?" So I'm probably a little misinformed there, or uninformed.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
The more serious question, important question is, there is pressure to state your opinion on everything.
Yep.
And it's interesting for me, like if you look at all of the problems in the world, it is physically impossible to be concerned about all of them simultaneously, or even in one lifetime.
Yeah.
And I believe that God can point out a specific issue to someone and then give them maybe some marching orders, so to speak.
Yeah.
But with all of this pressure, as the pastor of a local church, if one of these issues kind of feels like it's rising to the surface, how do you do something about it without being performative?
Yeah, man, I think that's a really great question that I don't have a total answer to. I think the first thing is talking to people. And I don't mean talking at people. We got a lot of talking at people going on.
Right.
But one of the things I've tried to do is just say like, hey, I want to know more about these situations. If you feel like you have a perspective or an opinion that's shaped by experience on what's going on with immigration issues in El Paso, will you please come talk to me? I really want to hear what you have to say. If you have a perspective as a Border Patrol agent, I really want to hear what you have to say. So I've tried to really ask the question. I think people need to do that more, is ask more questions. I think that the voices in our lives need to have more weight than the voices online. And so I think spending more time focusing on the people that are in our city. Like right now, I think that, hey, what you're doing here on this podcast, radio show, is so helpful for our city, because we need a place where people from our city are talking about things. This is that place.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people are talking about El Paso, and if they are, they're not from El Paso, and they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
And so, getting people that are here in the borderland actually talking about what it's like to do ministry or challenges we're facing, and then saying as people like, man, what can I put my hands to here?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to butcher quoting Tolkien, but that's okay. Everybody butchers Tolkien.
It'll be just between me and you.
Yeah, nobody will hear it.
Listening.
Yeah. So Tolkien has this concept of like there's so many things that lay outside of our spheres of influence, and this is not his language, but the concept I'm stealing is from him. But there are so many things in our sphere of influence that we can actually get involved in and actually do things about, and we would be much better served spending our time focusing on our sphere of influence and just figuring out how we can get involved in those places than we would be focusing on Greenland, for instance.
Yeah.
And maybe that is your sphere of influence. And if you have a sphere of influence there, man, get involved and ask good questions. Pay attention, be discerning, seek the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. But chances are for people like me, like, man, I got people in my congregation. Those are the people I really want to dedicate my time to. Mm-hmm. I got my neighbors on my street and in my city. Those are the people I want to dedicate my time to. I want to spend more time there talking to them, helping them, than I do focusing on what's going on in other places of the world. Not that I don't also have some level of understanding what's going on in other places, but my primary focus should be what can I put my hands to now. So
I love all of this, and I love the shout out for the program. It is a big part of the reason we have it is because when I came back to America, one of the things I saw is that many folks, and this is a generalization, but many folks saw what was happening in their local church and what was happening in Washington, D.C., but very little of what was happening in the city that God has entrusted us with. Also, many of us know our view on certain theological issues, which is super important, but we don't know our neighbor's first name. And so it's so important for us to, like you said, really understand what our circle of influence is and trust that God, if we're faithful there, he'll continue to build that circle.
Yeah.
So I love this conversation, Pastor Austin. We've been talking about wisdom. We've been talking about cultural issues, the relationship between the church and missionaries.
All over the place here.
Yeah, all over the place. But I love these conversations. Hopefully, for our listeners and for me, we can just be a little bit more mindful as we see our neighbors, say hi. As we're in a situation, as you said, about wisdom, we can not rush into making the decision, but wait on the Lord to really provide guidance. So I so appreciate this conversation.
Yeah. One small thought. It'll be super quick. Man, live with your life open to people. If your life is so hidden and withdrawn and you live in AirPods, people can't know you.
Yeah.
So live with your life open to people, and you'll actually start to see the needs of your neighbor.
Amen. Love it. As we always say, let's learn to love our city and love our neighbors and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. To listen to this or any previous edition of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media and click on the 915 Talk link. Let's continue to learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all